Nanomaterials are teeny tiny particles between 1 and 100 nanometers, which is about 1000 smaller than one human hair. Their ultra small size let them interact with the skin and the formula in unique ways, improving things like the texture of the cosmetic product, the absorption in the skin, and the UV protection. But this small size also raises some safety health concerns. Because nanoparticles can also penetrate the skin's layers more easily than bigger particles, especially if you have sensitive skin or damaged skin due to an inflammatory skin disorder. So scientists are quite careful with the use of these nanoparticles in cosmetics because tiny particles may enter your cells and cause oxidative stress or trigger inflammation. So yes, nanoparticles have definitely some benefits, but can you recognize them on the label? Let's identify some of them and see how the European Union regulates their use in the cosmetic industry. So first, some of the nanoparticles that are commonly used in cosmetics. Nanotitanium dioxide and zinc oxide. Those are often used in sunscreens for an effective UV protection without having this white cast residue. You also have liposomal delivery systems. These are well known and used to encapsulate, for example here, the active ingredients and allow a better penetration thanks to their teeny tiny size. Another nanomaterial that you may have heard of are nanoparticles ingredients such as nanogold or nanosilver, used for their antimicrobial and antioxidative properties. So great, these teeny tiny particles can change the physical and chemical behavior of products, which can lead to better performance. But those need careful safety assessments. That is why the European Union Cosmetic Regulation 1223/2009 includes specific requirements regarding the nanoparticles. Before launching, the brands need to notify the European Commission about the use of nanomaterial in their products. Don't worry, you do not have to call the European Commission, but just notify it via the Cosmetic Product Notification Portal or CPNP. This notification will include the type of particles that you are going to use, their size, their concentration, and the exposure routes. Second, the labeling. Yes, always. The products need to clearly notify that they are nanoparticles used in the product by mentioning nano after the ingredient's name, so consumers are well informed. And of course, to make sure that your product is safe for those consumers, your product containing nanoparticles will need to undergo rigorous safety assessments by the Scientific Committee on Consumer Safety, or the SCCS, which review toxicology data, skin penetration studies, and exposure scenarios. And as you probably know, if you want to launch in the European Union, there is updates regarding the list of ingredients that can be used. Some are banned, some are restricted in their use, and regarding nanoparticles, there are some ban and restrictions. For example, based on scientific reviews, the EU has recently put new bans and restrictions regarding the nanogold and nanosilver that we've talked about earlier to protect the consumers regarding potential risks. That doesn't mean that they are definitely banned, but there might be some concentration threshold for the use of those nanomaterials. You have to check the list. Yes, I understand that all those legal requirements may seem annoying when you want to develop a cosmetic product. But think of the fact that most of the products are put on the skin multiple days per week for a long period of time. And let's not forget that our skin, yes, its first function is to act as a barrier, but it is also the largest organ of our body and the entry access to our immune and lymphatic system. So safety is a must, especially if you have a sensitive skin or a damaged skin. For example, if you have eczema or any kind of inflammatory skin disorder, the nanoparticles that are supposed to penetrate the skin but stay close to the outer layer may penetrate deeper and deeper into your skin or even access your systemic circulation. That is why skin penetration study and toxicology assessments are really important if you are about to use those kind of ingredients. However, of course, there have been a lot of scientific studies to review the safety of this ingredient. And for example, this nanotitanium dioxide and zinc oxide are nanoparticles that are used in sunscreen and considered considered safe to use, within the regulatory limits, of course. Because, in those cases, they remain mostly on or near the surface of the skin. So what does it mean for you as a consumer? It is nice to know that products that are sold in the European Union are highly regulated for safety and transparency. And for formulators or brands, of course, it is important to make sure that you are following all the compliances and safety requirements when you are using those type of ingredients. Because yes, nanotechnologies allows for exciting innovation, but testing and responsible use is the priority. All the information that are related to their use must be included in your product information file. If you want to know more about that, you can watch this video to know more about the PIF, or this one regarding the updates that you need to be aware of going forward.